Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Sorry I haven't been around lately. I've been doing the live streams. Haven't been doing too many videos, though. I just got a new camera, new software. I've been trying to figure out how to get it working. I've recorded 2 videos, and for some reason there were issues with them when I uploaded them. So still kind of working out the kinks. So hopefully this one works. Just do a quick hard rock and metal update. Some of the stuff I've been listening to lately. A few of these are newer ones. Some of them I've had for quite a while and just got around to listening to. But just kind of jump in. First one, this one, maybe about 6 months ago, a year ago. Yeah, this is 2022. I got word that this was being repressed. It may have been pressed to vinyl for the first time. I can't remember. I've been trying to get all the Flom Jetsons that are available on vinyl, and this was one that I was missing. This is Dreams of Death. Not one that people really talk about, but a fantastic album. Flom Jetson was a funny one. Their first 2 albums are thrash metal classics, in my opinion. Then they had a couple that were just okay, going into the mid-90s. And then after Quattro, which was the last one that I'm just kind of so-so with, they kind of went back to more towards their roots, really good heavy metal, and working their way back to thrash. This is kind of more of a straight-up metal album, but you hear some of that early Flotsam and Jetsam in there, and I really dig that one. Next up, one of my favorites from the year. This is Witch Hazel 4, Sacrament. If you remember, maybe 2 years ago, Sacrament had my album of the year with Witch Hazel 3. Sacrament. Witch Hazel had my album of the year with Witch Hazel 3. This is another fantastic album. Highly recommend checking them out. All of their albums are really good. Kind of new wave of traditional metal, but there's a bit of epic metal in there too, in my opinion. Really dig these guys. This is a band I found out about watching Locked Horns. I don't usually like their reviews. I don't usually agree with them on a lot of stuff. But I heard them talking about this album, or this band. Their second album had just come out. And I went and checked it out on Bandcamp and really dug it. And they've kind of become a favorite of mine. So highly, highly recommend grabbing that one. Next up, another favorite from the year. This band has just been putting out, I call it a band, it's really one guy, it's Trevor Church, but he's been putting out fantastic albums for about 5 years now. I believe he's put out like 7 albums in that time. I can't remember how many. He's multiple EPs. He just put out a greatest hits album that I just got about a week or 2 ago. Just another fantastic album from Haunt. The only issue I have with Haunt and Trevor Church is the pressing quality. I wish his albums sounded a little bit better. They are all a little bit muddy to me. I still like them. I still buy them all. I still love the band. I just wish he put a little more into the actual pressings of the albums. But this is a Golden Arm from Haunt. Just another killer new wave of traditional metal album, and another one that I definitely recommend. Next up, I'm not sure if you can still get this one. If you can, go over to Rox Records and pick it up, roxrecords.com. But this is Applehead, a name that I can't stand. I don't understand the name. I don't like the name. It's a fantastic band, though, and it's a fantastic album. Actually, this is another project. This is 2 guys. The main guy being Greg Manier. Greg Manier was the guy behind The Crucified. The Crucified started off as a punk band. On their early their EP and their singles, it was punk. Their first album was kind of crossover thrash. Their second album was straight up thrash. Years later, he did a project called Manier, which is fantastic, really killer thrash. And then he put out the first Applehead. I believe it was in the early to mid 90s when the first Applehead came out. And it was a really cool, it was almost kind of a grungy metal, like a grungy, sludgy metal. That's not really giving it enough credit. It was a really good metal album, but it had those elements of kind of Alice in Chains elements in it that I really dug. I don't think it did that good because of the name personally, but regardless, he stuck with the name, and this is the light side of the Apple. This one is more just straight up really good metal. Highly recommend checking it out. It's another fantastic album from him. He's a great songwriter, and I've loved everything that he's released. So next up, so this is a band I've always known about, but I never had this album. I had heard their singles before. Funny enough, I was listening to a new wave of British heavy metal comp a couple months ago, and there was one band on there that I had never heard of that really stood out. They were one of the best bands on the comp, and the comp had like Girl School and who else was on there? It was all big name new wave of British heavy metal bands that I really love, but this band stood out, and it was called Black Axe. I had never heard of Black Axe, and I couldn't believe it because it was so good. I was shocked I had never heard of them. And so I started doing a little research on Black Axe and found out they changed their name. They changed their name to Wolf. So we have the one studio album from Wolf, top notch, first tier new wave of British heavy metal. This album's fantastic. It's really good. I would recommend checking this out, but I recommend finding those Black Axe demos or finding the new wave of British heavy metal. It's the BBC Sessions comps. The Black Axe stuff, Black Axe stuff is really good. Battle Axe keeps popping in my head. It's another new wave of British heavy metal band that I really like, but this was just redone by High Roller. I'd like to find an original pressing, but the prices have gone crazy. So in the meantime, I'll just have to deal with this one. Next up, picked up one that I've been looking for a good 15 years. I've always wanted to have this on vinyl. I'm glad I finally do. I'd like to get their second album on vinyl, but I'm not sure if it was ever pressed to vinyl. But this is a Baltimore band, Wrathchild America. And really killer band. Oh, man. There's elements of speed metal in there. There's elements of thrash. I mean, it's just really killer metal all around. Just a fantastic album. I also, they changed their name in the 90s and put out a couple albums too. So somebody comment if those are worth checking out. I can't remember what they changed the name to, but I know they did 2 more albums under another name. But Wrathchild America, this album is a 9 out of 10. This is one I recommend that every metalhead has in the collection. Next up, the new one from Raven. Man, Raven have just been on an upward trajectory, in my opinion. Their last few albums are fantastic. Bringing in their new drummer, and I've talked about this before. I can't remember what his name is. I do this all the time. I really should look it up before I do these videos. But their new drummer was the touring drummer for Fear Factory. He's been in a bunch of other bands. But he's from Fear Factory. He's got that super fast drumming, and it's flawless. It sounds fantastic. Well, what's nice about that is it allows the Gallagher brothers to do fast metal again. If you listen to that early, the first few Raven albums, I mean, that's straight up speed metal. Proto thrash maybe. It's so good. And these last few albums with him on drums, they've brought that speed back, and I really dig it. But this is All Hell's Breaking Loose from the mighty Raven. Next up, just a classic. I thought I had this on vinyl. I didn't. It may be one that I got rid of when I purged all of the old beat up junk that I had in my collection a few years ago, because I know I've had this before. But I found a super clean, it looked unplayed copy of Breaker from Accept. Just one of the classic albums. All of the early 80s, I love everything from Accept, to be perfectly honest, but those albums from 80 to about 86, I mean, it's just heavy metal gold. And they are really must-have albums. Any of those, but this one is fantastic. Highly recommend this one as well. And then last but not least, keep this one kind of short. Where are we at? Where does it say the time on here? Sorry, like I said, I just got this new camera. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't even know if it says how much time I've talked yet. I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, this label, Magnetic Eye Records, has been putting out these killer Redux albums, and they're basically tribute albums, but as a tribute to the full album. So this is Dirt Redux. They've done Super Unknown Redux. I think they've done Black Sabbath Redux, or maybe it was Paranoid Redux. They've done Back on Black Redux. And they're basically doom and sludge bands doing tributes to these various bands. I've heard the Soundgarden when it's fantastic. And this is the Alice in Chains Dirt. The biggest name band on here is Chemist. But Thou is on here. They're great. Let's see. Form in the Void. Let's see if any. Black Electric. Those are probably the ones that you guys would have heard of. I like that it's a bunch of... Oh, High Priest. It's more unknown bands, but man, this is so good. I bought it because it was cheap. I figured I would check it out. I think I paid $18 for it. And I love it. I've been playing this quite a bit. Another one that I highly recommend. No throwaways this time. Man, there's been some good stuff coming out. I've been really digging it. There hasn't been too much recently that I just have been disappointed by, which is really cool to see. So that's it, guys. I hope everybody's doing good. I will see you soon, and take care, VC. Bye.